Welcome to the Dreamy Scientist. This is not just a video, it is a passage into stillness, into slow thought, into a different kind of science, not the kind you memorize, but the kind you feel. You are not here to be tested, you are here to be held. By words, by questions, by a quiet kind of wonder that doesn't need to shout. As your body settles into stillness, and the day fades like a soft shadow behind you, let this space wrap around you like a warm blanket. Let go of the noise, the scrolling, the speed. Let go of the pressure to be productive. Here, you are enough, just as you are. Breathing, listening, feeling. That's more than enough. And tonight, I offer you a question. Not a loud one, not a sharp one, a quiet, ancient question. The kind that hums beneath the surface of our lives. A question we never truly ask, though we spend a third of our existence dancing around it. What would happen if you didn't sleep? Not for a night, not even two, but what if sleep vanished? What if your body never shut down? What if your brain never reset? What if your dreams were stolen away, one by one, until your nights were just long stretches of empty time? Sleep seems simple. You close your eyes, you drift away. But beneath that softness, something extraordinary is happening. Your brain rewires, your cells repair, your memories take root, your heart resets its rhythm, your emotions cool and soften like steam on glass. And yet, we take it for granted. We push past it, delay it, scroll into the early hours, wear sleeplessness like a badge of honor. We say, I'll sleep when I'm dead. But science whispers back, if you don't sleep, you'll get there sooner. So tonight, let's slow down. Let's look deeper. Let's imagine what would happen if we removed sleep from the human equation. Not in fear, but in fascination. Because by understanding what falls apart without rest, we learn to cherish the miracle that sleep truly is. You don't need to be wide awake to join this journey. You don't need to take notes. You just need to be here, soft, still, open. Because here at the Dreamy Scientist, even sleep is part of the learning. The first day without sleep feels ordinary. You might feel a little foggy, but nothing alarming. You yawn a little more, reach for coffee, squint at the screen. Your thoughts slow down, but only slightly. If anything, the world feels softer, almost dreamlike. You may even convince yourself that you're managing fine, but inside your brain, changes have already begun. The prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for decision-making, attention, and complex thought, begins to dim, like a light bulb losing voltage. Your ability to focus slips. Your emotional regulation falters. Little things annoy you. Small problems feel overwhelming. As you press forward, your body compensates with stress hormones. Cortisol, adrenaline. They surge through your bloodstream trying to keep you sharp. You may feel a brief spike in energy, but it's borrowed power. A short-term loan your body cannot afford to repay. Beneath the surface, your cells are skipping repair cycles. Your brain is delaying memory consolidation. Information you absorb today won't be stored properly. Your immune system, too, is starting to stumble. White blood cells become sluggish. Inflammation markers begin to rise. Your body, trying to keep moving, is also starting to fall apart. As the second night passes without sleep, the cracks deepen. Reaction times slow. Your memory begins to betray you. You forget why you walked into a room. You reread the same sentence 3 times. Thoughts drift and dissolve before you can hold on to them. You feel as if you're there, but not fully, like watching yourself through a fogged window. Your body is now in crisis mode. Blood pressure rises, heart rate variability drops, insulin sensitivity is reduced, your muscles ache, not from exertion but from lack of rest. Micro sleeps begin to sneak in. These are brief, involuntary lapses in consciousness lasting just a few seconds. You may not even realize they're happening. Your eyes are open, you're upright, but for those few seconds, your brain has gone offline. It's trying to survive, trying to steal rest wherever it can. Hallucinations become possible. Sounds twist, lights pulse strangely. Your perception bends. You are no longer simply tired. You are now sleep-deprived, and your body is sounding alarms. By the third day, sleep deprivation is no longer a background condition. It becomes your world. Cognitive function deteriorates further. Language skills diminish. You struggle to form coherent sentences. Emotional responses are unpredictable. Laughter, tears, anger, all arrive without context or warning. Your immune system, now weakened, leaves you vulnerable to illness. Even a mild cold becomes a challenge. Your brain's glymphatic system, the network responsible for clearing waste and toxins, can no longer function properly. Beta amyloid proteins begin to accumulate. These are the same toxins associated with neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's. Your brain is no longer cleaning itself, and so it starts to poison itself. You feel disconnected from your surroundings. Time stretches and compresses unpredictably. Sounds become too sharp or too distant. The world feels alien. You are physically present, but mentally lost. This is the edge of consciousness, and your body knows it. Deep inside, every cell is pleading for one thing: sleep. Let's pause. Not everything has to move forward quickly. Even now, as we discuss what happens when sleep is denied, I want you to feel safe, calm. This is not a punishment. This is a lesson in appreciation, because the opposite of sleep is not productivity. It is decline. Quiet, invisible, irreversible decline. Sleep is not the enemy of success. It is the fuel for it. Sleep is not weakness, it is wisdom. In every species studied, from fruit flies to humans, sleep is a universal need. Evolution has preserved it not as a flaw, but as a sacred rhythm. Sleep is not something we outgrow or overcome. It is something we return to, again and again, because it is essential. It is where the brain files the day, where the body stitches muscle, where the heart finds its steady beat. So, as you listen, as you float, let this thought settle into you. Sleep is not optional. It is foundational. Like breath, like water, like warmth. You are allowed to rest. You are built to rest, and in rest, you find your strength. By the fourth day, the mind begins to separate from reality. The brain's electrical rhythms, once predictable and coherent, now oscillate in strange patterns. EEG readings show disruptions that mimic those seen in severe mental illness. You may begin to feel watched, though no one is there. Shadows flicker in the corner of your eye. You hear your name whispered, though no lips moved. The world becomes uncanny. Familiar places feel foreign. Faces lose definition. The sense of self, the I that anchors your awareness, starts to erode. Language, memory, perception, they blur together in unpredictable waves. The body responds with trembling hands, aching joints, and an ever-present fatigue that no amount of willpower can overcome. Sleep is no longer a want. It becomes a biological emergency. But you cannot give in. Because we've taken it away, remember? So the body continues to decline. Vision blurs, muscles twitch, thoughts collapse mid-sentence. Your mind screams for silence, and the only thing that can answer is sleep. In the absence of sleep, the body initiates a kind of shutdown. But unlike real sleep, it is fragmented and incomplete. Your organs are stressed. Liver function begins to falter. Hormonal imbalances grow severe. Testosterone, estrogen, melatonin, cortisol, all thrown into chaotic flux. Digestion slows, nausea creeps in, and appetite becomes distorted. You may crave sugar or lose hunger entirely. Your skin loses luster, dark circles deepen, and the aging process accelerates visibly. You may notice fine tremors in your fingers, and speech may slur as the brain struggles to coordinate motor functions. Psychologically, paranoia becomes a constant companion. You question people's motives. You question your memory. You question your own thoughts. The barrier between dream and waking life continues to dissolve. At this stage, reality is unstable, and so are you. The world feels like it's tilting. The smallest tasks, brushing your teeth, tying shoes, forming a simple sentence, feel monumental. And still, your body pushes forward because you haven't given it the one thing it needs. Sleep deprivation now begins to resemble psychosis. Visual hallucinations become common. You might see insects on your skin, faces in the mirror that aren't your own, movement in the walls. These are not dreams. These are signs of a brain unraveling. The thalamus, the brain's sensory switchboard, can no longer filter incoming signals properly. The result is chaos. The world arrives too fast, too loud, too raw. Sensory overload triggers emotional collapse. You may cry without cause, laugh without reason, or feel nothing at all. This is not exhaustion, this is disintegration. Social connection becomes impossible. Words lose meaning. Conversations feel like puzzles you cannot solve. You withdraw. Your body, meanwhile, enters a low-grade inflammatory state. Your heart struggles to maintain rhythm. Blood vessels constrict. The risk of stroke or heart attack increases sharply. Every part of you is screaming, silently and biologically, for rest. But there is none. Let's imagine a world where sleep no longer exists, not just for one person, but for all of humanity. What would society look like? Without sleep, hospitals would overflow with cases of psychosis and immune failure. Productivity would plummet, human empathy would vanish. Crime rates would soar as impulse control deteriorates. Families would fracture under the weight of emotional instability. Schools would collapse, not because of teaching, but because no one can learn without rest. The economy would spiral as burnout becomes the norm. People would forget how to feel, how to dream. Art would disappear, laughter would fade, and slowly humanity would become less human. Because rest is not just for survival, it is for soul. And without it, we don't just lose energy, we lose ourselves. But thankfully, we live in a world where sleep is still possible, where silence still exists, where softness still waits for us at the end of each day. So tonight, as you listen, I invite you to reclaim it. Not as a duty, but as a gift. Sleep is not wasted time. It is the hidden engine of your mind, your body, your spirit. As your head touches the pillow, think of sleep not as an interruption to life, but as its sanctuary. Let your thoughts soften, let your breath deepen, let this story dissolve gently into stillness. You have done enough, you have been enough, and now you may rest. Here at the Dreamy Scientist, we believe the greatest discoveries happen, not in laboratories, but in the quiet space between wakefulness and dreams. So close your eyes, traveler of time, and sleep. For in your rest, the universe unfolds. And now, we descend deeper. Not just into the science of sleep, but into its poetry. Picture your brain as a grand archive, each night filing away memories, experiences, and emotions. Without sleep, that archive falls into disarray. Imagine writing a story, one chapter each day, but never saving your work. That's what happens when you don't sleep. Your hippocampus, the region that encodes memory, starts to misfire. Short-term memories never graduate to long-term status. You forget what you learned, what you felt, who you were becoming. In this way, the sleepless mind is like a book with missing pages, confusing, disjointed, and incomplete. But it doesn't end there. Sleep also nourishes creativity. During REM sleep, the brain plays, experiments, dreams. It makes new connections, solves problems, it invents. Without that dream space, innovation withers. Artists lose inspiration, scientists miss eureka moments. Sleep-deprived minds become dull, repetitive, mechanical. The spark dims, and in a world running on low sleep, that spark is everything. Imagine now the immune system as a fortress. Each night of sleep is like raising the drawbridge, repairing the walls, sharpening the defenses. Without it, invaders creep in. Bacteria, viruses, chronic inflammation, even cancer risk rises when sleep is consistently denied. T cells don't patrol as effectively. Inflammatory cytokines surge. The balance tips from health to vulnerability, and the damage accumulates silently. You may not notice the day you got weaker, the moment your defense slipped, but over weeks and months, the cost becomes clear. Sleep is your shield, and when it's missing, the world becomes sharper, more dangerous. Every germ, every toxin, every stressor has easier access. Even vaccines lose effectiveness in the sleep-deprived. What does that say about how essential rest truly is? Sleep isn't just passive. It is protective, it is potent, it is armor crafted in silence. And now, let's talk about the heart. Sleep, you see, is a symphony conductor for your cardiovascular system. It lowers blood pressure, slows the heart, restores balance. Without it, that harmony collapses. Heart rate stays elevated, blood pressure creeps upward, the arteries stiffen, the risk of heart disease grows with each hour of missed sleep. A single night of short sleep can cause a measurable spike in blood pressure the next day. Over time, the effects compound. Stroke risk, heart attack, arrhythmias. The heart, which beats faithfully your entire life, begins to strain without its nightly reprieve. And it's not just physical. Emotional stress, amplified by sleep loss, puts further strain on the cardiovascular system. Anger comes quicker, patience thins, the world feels overwhelming, and in that stress, the heart suffers. So when we say, get your rest, it's not a suggestion, it's a prescription, one your heart has been silently asking for. Let's drift into dreams for a moment. REM sleep, rapid eye movement, is where most vivid dreaming occurs. But it's more than just story time for the brain. REM sleep is emotional therapy. It processes fear, joy, sorrow. It softens trauma. Without it, emotional wounds stay raw, anxiety grows, depression deepens, you become more reactive, less resilient. Research shows that sleep-deprived individuals have heightened responses in the amygdala, the brain's fear center, and reduced control from the prefrontal cortex. In short, you become emotionally unstable. Tiny stresses feel enormous. A simple argument feels like a betrayal. Your ability to empathize decreases. You see threat where none exists. And worst of all, you don't even realize it. The world becomes harsher, not because it changed, but because you've lost the emotional lens that sleep gently places on your heart each night. By now, you may be wondering, why did evolution preserve such a vulnerable state? Why would our species, any species, spend a third of life unconscious? The answer lies in what happens during those silent hours. Sleep isn't a shutdown, it's a shift. The body doesn't rest, it repairs. The brain doesn't go dark, it lights up. During deep sleep, cerebrospinal fluid floods the brain, clearing waste. Cells produce proteins, muscles rebuild, hormones calibrate. Growth, healing, restoration all occur in sleep. For newborns, it's when development happens. For adults, it's when recovery begins. And across every species, from elephants to octopuses, sleep, or something like it, is present. It's not laziness, it's life. So the next time you find yourself saying, I don't have time to sleep, remember, you don't have time not to. Let's shift the lens outward, to culture, to history. Ancient societies revered sleep as a sacred act. In some traditions, dreams were seen as divine messages. In others, communal napping was normal, even encouraged. The Industrial Revolution changed all that. Suddenly, productivity was king. Time became currency, and sleep became a liability. We built a world that glorifies hustle, that treats exhaustion as excellence. But science whispers another truth. A well-rested mind is a sharp mind. A rested heart is a kind heart. A rested body is a healthy body. Modern sleep science is now rediscovering what ancient wisdom already knew, that in rest we remember who we are. Technology, too, has played its part. Screens that glow like sunlight, notifications that ping like alarms, the dopamine rush of likes and scrolling. All of it hijacks the brain's natural rhythms. Blue light suppresses melatonin, the sleep hormone. Social media spikes stress. The result? We're wired when we should be winding down. Sleep becomes harder, not because we don't want it, but because our environment is fighting it. The bedroom becomes an extension of the office, the bed a desk. And so, sleep becomes another task on the to-do list, something to optimize, track, analyze. But sleep was never meant to be optimized. It was meant to be surrendered to, like falling, like floating, like faith. There's beauty in surrendering to sleep, in letting go, in trusting that you'll wake whole. But for many, sleep is elusive. Insomnia is rising, anxiety is rampant, trauma lingers. And in that silence, bedtime can feel like a battleground. If that's you, know this, you are not alone. You are not broken. Your body is not your enemy. It's simply trying to protect you. Sometimes we need help, a new rhythm, a new story, a new kind of science, the kind that heals softly. And that's what we're here for, to hold that space, to remind you, rest is your right, your birthright. You may be lying down right now, or perhaps sitting, eyes closed or half open. Wherever you are, let this be a moment of softness. You are listening, yes, but also allowing yourself to be still, to be human. And in that stillness, you may notice your breath, the rise and fall, the gentle rhythm that sleep also follows. Inhale, exhale, and again. The body knows this rhythm. The earth too sleeps. The oceans, the trees, the stars. Sleep is not a weakness of the human body, it is the language of life itself. So tonight, as we cross the midpoint of our journey, know this. Sleep is not an escape. It is a return to yourself, to your center, to the timeless rhythm that beats beneath your busy life. You are not lazy for resting. You are not wasting time. You are tuning into a wisdom far older than clocks, far older than calendars. You are becoming whole, again and again, one breath at a time, one night at a time. This is not just science. This is sanctuary. Let's imagine waking, not from sleep, but from a world where sleep was forgotten. How would it feel to remember again? To lay your head down not out of exhaustion, but out of reverence. This paragraph is an invitation to reclaim sleep as a sacred act, not just because science proves it's vital, but because the soul remembers what the mind forgets. Sleep is where your inner world blooms, where dreams rise like mist from the unconscious, and where healing is quiet but real. It's where grief softens, joy deepens, and time slows to its true pace. As you drift off, know this. You are part of a rhythm as ancient as stars. Even animals understand the value of rest. A lion sleeps up to 20 hours a day. Dolphins let half their brain rest at a time. Trees fold their leaves at night. Everything in nature has a pause, a pulse, a pattern. And yet, humans try to run without stopping, defying what life itself has modeled. But we are not machines. We are creatures of light and dark, wakefulness and slumber. The moon rises for a reason. The sun sets for a purpose. And when we ignore that, we suffer. But when we honor it, we thrive. Sleep isn't a flaw in nature's design. It's one of its greatest gifts. For those who struggle with sleep, know this. Your body wants to help you. It's not against you. It's not broken. It is protecting you, adapting, learning. Sometimes it forgets how. That's where kindness comes in. Not stimulants, not shame, but a softer approach. Routines, gentle lights, calming sounds, familiar voices, a sense of safety. The body, when given permission, knows how to rest. So don't force it. Invite it. Like a child returning home, like dusk returning to the sky. Let this story be part of that invitation. A reminder that sleep is your oldest friend, and it never stopped waiting. As we near the end of our journey tonight, let's return to where we began, with a question. What would happen if you didn't sleep? Now you know. Now you've felt it. The unraveling, the ache, the longing. But also the hope. Because now you know what sleep gives you. Memory, emotion, health, creativity, heart, peace. And beyond all that, it gives you yourself. Whole, calm, awake in the deepest way. Not wide-eyed with stimulation, but grounded in rhythm. The kind of wakefulness that only comes from true rest. The kind of life that is not rushed, but lived. And now, you may let go. Not just of this story, but of the day, of the noise, of the weight you've been carrying. Here at the Dreamy Scientist, we believe in quiet endings, in soft discoveries, in learning that doesn't demand, but invites. So as your breath deepens and your eyes grow heavy, remember this. Sleep is not a gap in life. It is life. And in this final moment, you are safe. You are whole. You are home. Good night, dreamer. Let the universe fold around you like a blanket of stars. And rest. Even animals understand the value of rest. A lion sleeps up to 20 hours a day. Dolphins let half their brain rest at a time. Trees fold their leaves at night. Everything in nature has a pause, a pulse, a pattern. And yet humans try to run without stopping, defying what life itself has modeled. But we are not machines. We are creatures of light and dark, wakefulness and slumber. The moon rises for a reason. The sun sets for a purpose. And when we ignore that, we suffer. But when we honor it, we thrive. Sleep isn't a flaw in nature's design. It's one of its greatest gifts. For those who struggle with sleep, know this. Your body wants to help you. It's not against you. It's not broken. It is protecting you, adapting, learning. Sometimes it forgets how. That's where kindness comes in. Not stimulants, not shame, but a softer approach. Routines, gentle lights, calming sounds, familiar voices, a sense of safety. The body, when given permission, knows how to rest. So don't force it, invite it. Like a child returning home, like dusk returning to the sky. Let this story be part of that invitation, a reminder that sleep is your oldest friend, and it never stopped waiting. As we near the end of our journey tonight, let's return to where we began, with a question. What would happen if you didn't sleep? Now you know. Now you've felt it. The unraveling, the ache, the longing, but also the hope. Because now you know what sleep gives you. Memory, emotion, health, creativity, heart, peace, and beyond all that, it gives you yourself, whole, calm, awake in the deepest way. Not wide-eyed with stimulation, but grounded in rhythm. The kind of wakefulness that only comes from true rest. The kind of life that is not rushed, but lived. And now you may let go, not just of this story, but of the day, of the noise, of the weight you've been carrying. Here at the Dreamy Scientist, we believe in quiet endings, in soft discoveries, in learning that doesn't demand, but invites. So as your breath deepens and your eyes grow heavy, remember this. Sleep is not a gap in life, it is life. And in this final moment, you are safe, you are whole, you are home. Good night, dreamer. Let the universe fold around you like a blanket of stars, and rest.